Well, another episode of The Bad Batch is upon us. Episode number 4, entitled Cornered.
Before we get into that review and a little discussion, you know what we're going to do? We're going to roll that intro. Welcome back, Bad Batch fans. We are into the fourth installment of this season. Before we get into that, we want you to hit that like button.
Just like back in the day with the Reader's Digest, you subscribed.
And don't forget to also ring that notification bell.
All right, another episode of The Bad Batch in the books, and it was a little bit more of a
Yeah.
upbeat pace, a little bit of action in this one.
Yeah. Definitely more exciting. It kind of held my attention a little bit better than the previous episode. Fennec
Yeah,
back in it from the Mandalorian.
yeah.
So kind of cool because this is obviously set, well, I guess 20 some years. It'd be probably about 22-ish, 23-ish years
Something like that.
from the Mandalorian. So she's a little younger and a little violent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, she's a full-fledged bounty hunter here and taking out whoever she has to. Obviously, there's a price on
Mhm.
Omega just to get her back.
Well, and we had theorized a little bit that she was uh, the statement at the previous episode about Omega being the comedians probably wanted her.
Yeah,
Um,
they're looking for a clean source for a clone, and
mhm.
apparently this is probably what they're looking for because
Yeah.
they can no longer use Jango Fett's DNA. So they want her back for this because they're trying to establish clones again so they
Yeah.
can keep supply going to the Empire and keep their business going. Uh,
Well, and it's interesting to think like, does she have force sensitive powers? I mean, I'm waiting for something like we haven't really seen.
exactly
Yeah.
why is she so special
Yeah.
or yeah, I think there's going to be something. I don't know if she's going to be force special or
Yeah.
have force abilities, but I think she'll have some sort of special abilities. I can't see it being force abilities
No.
because they have problems as we've seen later on in the
Yeah.
movies. They can't clone force sensitive people
Well,
easily
yeah.
without them being kind of messed up.
That's right. And I think she's very intuitive though. Like she seems to like she can figure out sees hatches and gets in them, and she knows how to do different things. Like she's very quick on the draw.
Maybe that's her special skill.
Yeah, I mean maybe
Just
she.
the intuition is so
Yeah.
dead on. Can read a situation well and just reacts accordingly.
Yeah. I'm kind of waiting for. I need her to have some armor. The other guys have cool outfits and armor. Why don't they gotta get her
Well,
some?
she's just a kid yet,
I
but
know.
yeah, she. I think by the end of this, we'll see what she can do, and she'll be. I think she'll actually be heavily involved in
Yeah.
protecting herself and them.
Well, and another thing I'm wondering with Crosshair is he actually going to be back on the team eventually? I'm curious on that. That's and is it kind of
Well, have we actually heard anything about the Bad Batch post this time period?
not no not really. I mean,
And because I have a bad feeling this is not going to be a happy ending to this series,
you think so? You think
because
this is going to end?
with the clones kind of just not being anywhere in sight in
Mm,
future series like let's say A New Hope and Rogue One and things like that.
yeah,
They're obviously gone, and I just think that I see where they're trying to go. I don't think they get there. I
yeah,
think something is going to obviously go bad. I think well, like why don't we
it's
hear about
possible.
other things happening with cloning with the Kaminoans
Yeah.
later on down the line? I think something massive will happen.
Well, you'd have to think if Emperor Palpatine is behind these scenarios and had ideas, did he destroy the Kaminoans facility and take that technology for himself? And because he didn't want to have them being in the way, I guess, right? I bet you that's probably what happened. Um,
I very much see a scenario like that where
mm,
he basically wipes them out and takes their technology for himself.
yeah, and that could very well be the scenario. I mean, we saw Rex later on in Rebels, right? So we know he survived later on, and that's post post Revenge of the Sith, all that kind of stuff. So we've got him alive. Is he still around at the Return of the Jedi point? It's pretty close, right? Rebels is just before A New Hope, so you'd think that Rex is still around.
And there was a couple clones with him too, and I can't remember the names of
Yeah,
who was with him. And
I'm
for all I know,
drawing a blank.
it could be these Bad Batch members, but I don't think it is
I
because
don't think it
I
is.
think we would have heard something about somebody talking about
Yeah,
that. But there was also other clones still, so there was some clones around,
yeah. There's
but
probably
they
a
were
few.
older, and I'm guessing their numbers are very, very thin at that point.
Well, you'd have to. Like, I guess the question I have also is, you have so many clones, and they're still patrolling. I mean, we saw on the planet this episode that they were patrolling through again, and they're everywhere. So, what does happen to all these? I mean,
I have a theory.
yeah,
I do
okay.
have a theory,
Here
and
it is.
I think just because we've heard so much about it, especially in the series already too, is that their inhibitor chips are used to permanently shut them down.
Okay,
I
so
have a feeling that
self-destruction.
I have a feeling they just ace them out. I have
That's
a bad feeling about that. That's how it's gonna
okay.
be. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
a dark series here.
I heard it here first. That is a theory, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But I think that's actually a good thought. That's a good theory. What easier way to get rid of them? I mean, if you have a chip to tell them, hey, here's Order 66, let's go now. I mean, you think they'd have something else, right? A fail safe switch, right?
It's basically going to be like a suicide
Yeah.
squad switch where they
Yeah.
they don't like what they're doing. They can
Yeah.
just click the switch and they're done.
And that could be if the unit went rogue at some point and they want to get rid of them, right? So yeah, I could see that. That's it's interesting. There's so many different ways you can go with this, and I definitely really enjoyed this episode much better. Just more action, more. I mean, I always like a good kind of bounty hunter or chase someone who's kind of a interesting villain, right? Like I've always appreciated that in shows where the last couple just weren't that exciting.
Obviously, we're going to see a lot more of that where they're trying to track her down and chase her down. So whether it be actual clones coming after, her, obviously we'll get Crosshair. He'll be going after.
Yeah.
But I think there'll just be a nonstop barrage of them trying to get her.
Yeah.
And as they figure out why, then that's when everything will start playing out.
So you think we'll see Fennec in future episodes here?
I think we'll see her yet in this series again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think as well. And anything else other than that, we're not 100% sure who's after Omega, but we're pretty sure. Could be Tarkin. It could be the Kaminoans.
But I think it's probably the Kaminoans because
Yeah.
Tarkin already doesn't really want clones.
Yeah.
So the Kaminoans want to keep their payroll going basically. So I think it's them trying to get her back so they can continue on and make a new batch of clones that are even better than the other previous batch.
And Fennec wasn't trying to kill her.
No.
So I mean, there's a situation there where you're trying to preserve her for the bounty, right? Yeah. I mean, otherwise a good episode, and I think hopefully they just amp the episodes up as we go along here.
Yeah. We'll see. I guess more of the story play out, and I'm not sure how many episodes there are for the season, but things will start progressing here fairly quickly. They usually start a little slower, but pretty soon we'll get down to the nitty gritty. All right, well, that's another episode of The Bad Batch. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and listening in to a couple guys just jammer on about the series. Feel free to give us your input as well.
Yeah, and as always, thanks for joining us here at the Blazing Overture, and we will see you in the next video.